Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes.
Hey, there's Cash.
I heard a tiny little grumble, and I looked down, and he was just staring up at me like, why won't you acknowledge me? What are you doing? So now he is with me. He is settled.
Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become modern pop culture through the lens of Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darian Smart. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? I am from Babylon today. The place is fine. Like it's old, it's crusty, it's musty, the works.
When did you stop being a muse?
Oh, that's right, Muse. I totally forgot. I'm like,
wow, we did this for a whole year.
I'm a Babylonian muse.
All right, well, let's muse around the garden while you get yourself oriented. DJ,
What's up?
did you know that in the late 1960s, the peregrine falcon was on the verge of extinction?
I knew it was on the endangered list at some point.
It and many other birds of prey and raptors literally on the verge of extinction due to a number of factors, right? Like loss of habitat due to human expansion, things like that. But the biggest one was due to the fact that peregrine falcon eggs were not hatching because the eggshells had become so thin that when the parents went to incubate the eggs, they would crush them.
Yes, I've heard about this problem. It's in like pesticides. It was just kind of a problem for a really long time. Even smaller field birds were having the issue.
Exactly. Yes. So it was specifically DDT, which was a pesticide used to kill mosquitoes. And it does a really good job of killing mosquitoes. The government was just spraying it everywhere. So then rodents and small birds were eating it and getting the DDT into their systems. And then larger birds of prey, like the peregrine falcon, was eating it and getting in their systems. And it was causing massive damage, thinning of the eggshells.
Yeah.
So there was a man named Tom Cade who was a falconer. And his favorite bird to hunt with was the peregrine falcon.
Yeah.
So when he was learning about the peregrines going extinct, he was super bummed out. Damn it, there goes my favorite hobby. Like, I love these birds. There goes everything. And he thought of a lot of different ways to, like, maybe we could do something about it. But he didn't actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
Until October 1970, when he got a letter from two fourth graders. These boys had heard about what was happening and gathered money in their neighborhood and sent it to Tom Cade, basically saying, we don't know what to do, but you seem like you're supposed to be the expert on this, so we hope this helps. And Cade said, well, damn, I got to do something now.
Yeah.
So he went to the bank and put the money in a deposit. And like, well, it needs an account name. What do you want to call it? And he called it the Peregrine Fund. In 1999, the peregrine falcon was successfully removed from the endangered species list.
Woo. Love to hear it.
It is one of the most successful, if not the most successful, conservation efforts ever pulled off.
Yeah.
So another fun fact about the Peregrine Fund. It's located here in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's headquartered here. The Peregrine Falcon World Center for the Birds of Prey, which is where I happen to have spent just this last week doing a summer camp.
Dude is very excited about the whole thing.
It's very exciting about the whole thing. And they are still working to help save raptors all over the world. They're right now working on rescuing the California condor. They also work in other places around the world. For example, the Darien rainforest, where they work with like local communities to help with conservation efforts. Because like in order to save the raptors, the birds, you also have to focus on like what is harming the communities, including the people living in these areas, and what do they need. And so working with like local communities and building conservation efforts from the grassroots all over the world to save raptors everywhere. Basically, it's a really cool organization. So we're going to give them money this month.
I like it. And we have 9 patrons. We'll be donating an additional $11 to make it a nice round 20.
Yes. Shout out to Curtis, who was the one of the, I think he's in charge of the director of education outreach, who led all these camps this week. And I told him about the podcast and that we'd be donating. Curtis, if you kept listening or listening to this episode, this one's for you, man. Thanks for letting me meet Pretzel and Lucy.
Thanks for running the show over there.
If you are interested in learning more about the Peregrine Fund or just seeing really cool pictures of birds, there'll be a link in the show notes. Thank you so much to all of our amazing patrons who make these donations possible every month. If you'd like to be a part of this community, help us give more to organizations like this, head over to patreon.com/Muses of Mythology. You'll get a ton of other bonus episodes, and big thank yous for supporting the show.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff over there that we're super proud of, especially on Musemas, and you better believe it's coming back 100%. Now back to the show, y'all.
So we begin The Last Olympian proper now. Well, I guess talking about the whole book is talking about it proper, but that's not what we do here, so don't worry about it. But we are finally talking about Kronos, who's technically been in every single book so far.
Yeah, but he was a problem, but he wasn't a problem.
He wasn't a problem.
And he wasn't like Kronos quite yet.
He's now the problem. So what else could we do but invite the biggest problem we know? It's Robert Gaymer for TheDamMemePage.
Wow. What a way to introduce me. Hello.
I know, that's so mean, but I can say it because everyone knows I'm lying because you're the best.
But am I truly? Am I really?
Yes, you are the bestest. Robert, how are you? How's it been? Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
It's actually only been 2 episodes.
Technically speaking.
You were here for Pan, which was our last episode of Battle of the Labyrinth. And then Last Olympian, we did end up doing as a 2-part book episode. Welcome back. It's only been a few days.
To be fair,
it's been a couple months.
Okay, no, I meant like if I was binging this podcast, maybe I listened to the episode.
It's been like 2 hours.
It's been like 2 hours.
Shout out to everyone who's binging this podcast. The progression of time is weird. Anyway, it's been a while for me, at least, since I've been on here.
Yeah.
For anyone who's listening, I guess it was as recent as a minute ago or an hour ago or whatever. Time does not exist.
Well, how timely for this
Shout
topic.
out to this being the first time I've worn the damn meme page outfit in like 2 months.
Oh my gosh, wow. I feel honored. And all because I happen to also be wearing my Camp Half-Blood shirt today because I'm doing summer camp stuff. So it felt timely and the kids love it.
Nice.
Shout out to Disbeans, who has designed both the shirts we are wearing.
Shout out to Disbeans. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, steel camp beads that she's making will come out.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah.
That's dope.
So free plugs are over now. Now let's get into it. Robert, you know the drill. What's the deal with Kronos in the Percy Jackson books?
Jesus Christ, what isn't the deal with Kronos? So he shows up technically in the first book as a voice in Percy's dreams, trying to convince him to trade the Thunderbolt for his mother's life. Also, he almost sucks Percy into Tartarus.
Yeah.
Tries, but did not succeed.
Yeah.
Weird plan.
With the help of Luke.
I'm not sure what he thought he was going to get from that plan, but okay.
And then,
killing Percy. Literally, the guy fated and prophesized to put a stop to it.
No,
pretty much.
fated to make a choice that would cause Olympus to raise or fall.
Yeah.
Let me just, oh man, this 12-year-old has my future in his hands. Let me just drag him into literally the worst part of hell and just like have a heart to heart. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Have a heart to heart. I'm ganging up on him. I had 60 monsters down there ready to jump him.
And then for like 2 books, Kronos is just sort of like mentioned in the background. And then in Battle of the Labyrinth, we find out that Luke used polymerization and fused himself with Kronos.
Yeah. It's a big old meat suit avatar body now.
And here in the 5th book, what do we call Kronos, Luke? I like calling him Kruke.
Kruke seems good because it's not a good name. And I don't like this character. Not that I think it's a bad character. He's a great character. Solid villain. Actually great work. I just don't like him personally. So like Kruke's is appropriate.
Right. Kruke. So we have Kruke, who is the main antagonist of the 5th book, who almost succeeds in his plan of like destroying Olympus. But then, as prophesized, Percy makes the decision to give Luke the sword so Luke can stab himself in his Achilles spot, which is like under his armpit.
Very, very smart.
Robert, what do you think of that position as a spot?
I think it's weird. I think like I guess it's smart. I can't imagine a scenario where someone's going to try and aim for here to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's DJ's entire take. Yeah, he's right. What do we think of Kronos' plan, like as a whole?
Isn't his plan just to overthrow Olympus and take over the world?
Yeah, but like the methodology behind achieving the plan.
It was smart, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Right? He had Poseidon, who's a very strong god, off to the side with Oceanus, and then had Typhon dealing with just about everybody else. And I mean, Typhon takes the collective of all 12 Olympians to take down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you already have some being split away, it's very, effective.
Yeah.
Had Percy not been lost at sea, he probably would have won.
Yeah.
Like, the fates really meddled in this one. Like, if Percy didn't get lost at sea and then wake up at his dad's place in order to convince his father to join the fight.
Well, he does it by sitting on the throne.
But he initially gets the idea because
he sees that, like...
Yeah.
He sees that, like, Poseidon's trying to defend mainly his palace. And it's supposed to be like, no, you're supposed to defend Olympus. Olympus is your
Do you have any idea how long the remodel time will be on this? This sucks.
How long it takes coral to grow? Coral!
Headcanon that Poseidon plays The Sims, and he, after the war and after his palace was destroyed, he spent time in The Sims designing his new palace.
I'd like to think that he and Amphitrite do that together. It's like their couple activity. They just play The Sims.
Yeah, probably. That'd be fun.
That is how we remodeled the living room downstairs many years ago when we needed new furniture and had to figure out where the pre-existing bookshelves were going to go. Lucy built up just a scale model of the living room with where like the hallways and the doors and the windows are at, and we just played around with furniture and we were like, yeah, that looks good. It was very effective. But in this book, back to this, Kronos plans manipulating Luke as a plan. Thoughts? Let's just really like assess Kronos in this series.
I mean, best option for what he had.
Yeah.
Dude was skilled with a sword, hated the gods. Like, he did have, like, reasons for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just also rough that he happened to fucking bond with and have friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's smart. It kind of reminds me of, because Kronos also initially kind of wanted to maybe make Percy his avatar, maybe. Yep. Like, he maybe wanted Percy to be the one.
Yeah.
Because he thought Percy was...
Well, Percy's way fucking stronger than Luke.
Percy is way fucking stronger than Luke. But Percy is good, so he had to settle for Luke.
Percy had... Honestly, it boils back to Sally Jackson and her ability to let go of the gods.
A good mom.
Look, I'm not going to say May wasn't a good mom. I think she lost the ability to be a good mother.
But that still means she's not a good mom.
Yeah.
She's a single mom who works 2 jobs.
Doesn't work at all. I bet all her expenses are paid by Hermes. She's stuck in a time loop of 1 hour.
It's so rough. It's so rough. It's all Zeus's fault. I swear. I am blaming Zeus for everything. I'm not saying Hermes is blameless, nor is Luke, but this is Zeus's fault. Yeah, he allowed the system that caused Luke to suffer as he did, and Kronos to be able to exploit a suffering kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was beat by the power of, I wish it was family, but turns out it was romantic love for a 16-year-old girl. And big yikes to everyone all around. Thanks.
Seem to forget he was 24, was it?
Thanks, Richard. Hate it.
Bro, half your age plus 7. Seriously, like, we figured this out, okay?
It's so weird to think about how I'm older than Luke.
Yeah, and you haven't tried to destroy civilization. DJ, you're still on watch. We'll see if you can make it past this without trying to destroy civilization. Luke was such a patsy, though. Here's the actual problem, and I'm sure I've talked about this many times, and I'll do it again. Listen, I understand wanting to dismantle the gods. The system is broken, it's not working, and it's allowed people to suffer, and created systems in which people will suffer unnecessarily. Putting the Titans back in power is not the answer.
No.
Very much
Titans
so
are
not.
just going to destroy everything.
We have no evidence that Kronos wasn't the one that actually sent the underworld forces after Talia. He was more than capable.
Yeah, clearly, right?
Could have been a setup.
You know, I never thought of it like that.
Like, yeah, we see him sending underworld beasties out after poor Percy all the time. Why couldn't that have been him? He's like time, right? That's not fully explored in the book really well. He just kind of slows and makes things weird, but why can't he also see the flow of time and see that like this Talia is not going to be the child of prophecy, but Luke could be used to manipulate him. He's already like at his end. He just needs a little bit more push to completely be like, fuck the gods.
Yeah.
Anytime I remember that like the gods technically have some form of future vision to an extent, or have some knowledge of what the future could be, I always remember Owen's episode about it, where he just essentially boiled it down to they tap into some primordial soup universe.
The primordial god soup is my favorite thing from Through the Mist, honestly. For reals, I think Kronos had a really good plan. I almost worked too. He would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Quite literally. For you meddling kids and your darn satyr.
And your darn satyr.
But ultimately, this episode actually isn't just about Kronos, because there's a lot of other Titans too. And I just really liked the idea of slighting Kronos, a fictional character, by not giving him his own episode, making him share it with his siblings. He feels like the kind of guy who would hate that, so you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is something I should have known, but I literally just found out there were also 12 Titans.
Yeah. And we're going to transition to that. DJ will be leading this episode because I have been frantic with my schedule. I've been out of the house from like 8:30 a.m. to some nights 9 p.m. working and doing stuff. So DJ took point here. I was literally like an hour ago, hey man, could you make notes for this episode? I gotta go.
Yeah, and I did it while watching like Markiplier or whatever.
Fabulous. So DJ, what's the deal with the Titans? Tell us more.
The Titans overthrew the primordial gods, their parents, and then was overthrown by the Olympians. So
cyclical.
Very cyclical. Yeah, I mean, the event is called the Titanomachy?
Titanomachy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Hesiod's.
Yeah, the Titan War, the great, and you had, what was it, like 8 major Titans? That like 8 named, but only 2 really did stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to attempt to pronounce some of these.
I know, right? Should we do that? Do we just want to take it?
Let's do it.
So like the easy one is Kronos.
Okay. We got Kronos.
Rhea.
I was gonna say Rhea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oceanus, Tethys, Coeus, Phoebe. Let me zoom out a little more. Crius, Eurybia, Leto, Asteria, Hyperion, Theia, Iapetus, Clymene, motherfucking Helios, Selene,
Hecate.
Yeah, Hecate, Eos, Atlas, Menoetius, Prometheus, Epimetheus, Kronos Rhea, and their children, the Olympians.
And their children.
Yeah, we got
and then
Atlas and Helios, Prometheus, Leto,
Themis, and Mnemosyne.
Mnemosyne? Yeah, sure, whatever. No one tell Emily that I butchered that so bad. No, I want to talk just briefly about Phoebe.
Yeah, just Phoebe.
Which is like, it's a name we still use very commonly.
And it's spelt the exact same, too.
That's how you spell Phoebe. She was like a first generation of Titans, grandmother of Apollo, Artemis, and Hecate, right? And literally, DJ and I read a middle grade kid's book where a character was named Phoebe, like this week.
It just reminds.
And it's so funny how it's like if you had a book about a character and it's set in like post like the Middle Ages, you could have a character named Phoebe and people would be like, that feels too modern. But it's not.
It kind of reminds me of how in Man of Steel, Kryptonians have, Jor-El, Kal-El, Zod, and then Kryptonite, and then Superman's mom's name is Martha.
Martha.
Or not Martha. It's some.
It is Martha
It's-
Kent, but
Martha Kent, but it's also some like M name. I forget, but it's like some or like Mary. I
Melanie.
think's her name. Melanie, something like that. Yeah.
oh, okay, we gotta look at Superman, Mom.
I thought it was Martha because that was
Specifically
the
Man
whole
of
point
Steel.
of what is it? That's how the Batman v Superman ended. Their mom's name were Martha.
That's silly. Laura is her name.
Laura. There we go. Yeah.
And
I
like,
guess that's also just her name in the comics. Yes, it is. Huh.
yeah. Is this like a Helen test thing where the dudes all have cool names and the women just have? No, that's not true. Because like Supergirl and Power Girl's name are like something kind of silly, right?
I'm pretty sure Supergirl's is, yeah.
And is it right? Super
Yeah, Supergirl's is like Kal-El.
real.
Oh, it's Kara Zor-El. So her name's Kara. Like what?
Kara Zor-El. What are you
Zor-El.
talking about? That's a wild ass name.
Well, is Zor-El her last name, or is that like part of?
No. Kal-El is Superman's first name.
Yeah.
Kal-El was just his.
So
name.
Kara
That's
Zor-El
it.
isn't not is like not too far out there.
Okay, but Zor-El is her father's name.
Yeah.
So that's just could be it's
Yeah,
like
it's just Kryptonian.
Thor, Odin's son.
Yeah.
So we
it's
do
probably
have-
just some
so
Kryptonian customs.
The women have like pretty standard names, and the dudes get cool names on Krypton. I'm glad it got
I'm not gonna say Kal-El or Zod are cool fucking names. Okay.
At least they're interesting.
At least they are. But then with that logic, Kal-El names his son John.
Well, he lives on Earth.
Yeah.
He lives on Earth and grew up with
Mm-hmm.
Earth customs.
He's honoring his mother,
Yeah.
John. Okay. Well, I don't feel like we have to cover the Titanmaki too much because I think that's
No,
something
everybody
that's
knows what the fuck it is, right?
yeah.
Yeah. We can always just breeze through the famous story. It was prophesized that one of Kronos' children would overthrow him. So every time his wife gave birth, every time Rhea gave birth, he would eat the child.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Rhea just kind of sat back and let that happen until Zeus was born. And then she's like, I want to save this one. And so she gave Kronos a rock to eat.
Listen. When you find out your husband brother is suddenly going to eat your kids, maybe she wasn't super prepared with a plan yet.
Yeah.
I can
Also,
understand maybe the first
Giving
time.
birth is a horrible experience.
I can
like-
understand maybe the first time she's thrown
She's just
off
not
like,
prepared.
why did you just eat our kid? And he's like, yeah, one of them is going to overthrow me.
Gotta do it.
And rather than just using a birth control, of which there were forms of in the ancient world.
Yeah. You know what? I made the mistake.
Yeah, but I bet they don't feel as good.
I made the mistake that is so often made when critiquing media is that I accidentally put most of the blame on the woman when actually I should be putting it on Kronos. Kronos, hey buddy, a kid of yours is going to overthrow you. Why
Why are you having children?
Why are you having children, buddy? Wrap it, snip it.
Wrap it,
you could have prevented
something.
it.
That
You could have
did not
prevented this.
exist. Not at Kronos' time.
I mean,
Okay, but there are other forms of birth control. We have had this through the ancient world. The Greeks and Romans put plants out of existence, made a plant extinct because it was birth control.
we could always
As I
just,
said, not in Kronos' time. Kronos was
here's-
like thousands of years before.
listen.
These are
My sex
All
ed
divine,
teacher.
powerful beings. Okay, you were saying?
My sex ed teacher taught us all about contraceptives, but he always ended every lesson with the only
Just
thing that
wrap
can
it, dude.
prevent pregnancies and STDs is abstinence.
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 Leave room for Jesus, y'all.
Well, this predates Jesus, presumably, by
Yeah.
several thousand years.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I want just real quick. Here's a question to drive Owen up a wall. Owen, would birth control even work for Titans and gods? So,
That's
no. We're not. No,
Potent.
we're not gonna discuss it here. I just want to put that on Owen's plate and let him have that. We're gonna continue on the conversation, which is
This story might actually originate from Babylonians.
yes, I did look that up because I was wondering about if the Titans themselves were a thing that the indigenous folks of the Greeks area, the Greek area, worshipped and then were displaced by the Greek civilization and their gods, and that's like where the story came from. But yeah, and looking into it, it looks like actually this was a story that was
it was
imported.
just another sect of this religion went off to do their own thing and became Greeks.
Yeah, so it was like imported from like the Hittites or the Babylonians, where they had this kind of story, and so like it came to Greece and they repurposed it for their gods. But there wasn't like the Titans were never worshipped by the culture of Greece that we identify it as. Like that was like, and it wasn't like they fell out of fashion. And this is why like they were never like our ancestors used to worship. No, this was just like a story.
Yeah.
To explain how the Greeks got here. And also, like, because the Titans got into power because they, like, Kronos also overthrew his father because Uranus himself was paranoid. And so he kept his children trapped inside Gaia herself. And she was like, fuck this, and had Kronos cough his dick with a scythe. And so then it's like a cyclical nature. And then we get Zeus, who decided he was also going to be paranoid and swallowed Metis. And now we have Athena. And that broke that cycle because Athena. But he's got other
Athena
sons.
popped out. Yeah, but it was like the next baby, if it was to be a boy,
would overthrow you.
And
Athena showed up.
And
It's
Athena
like, don't
pops
worry.
Out.
Yeah, she's like, don't worry, Dad. I'm here to preserve the status quo.
Don't worry.
I'm not like other girls.
Yeah. Athena, the ultimate pick-me.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, this one, the Hurro-Hittite text Song of Kumarbi.
Ooh.
Right? Ooh. It's literally the exact same shit. It's Anu is Uranos. Kumarbi is Kronos.
Hold on, say it again.
Uranos.
No, one more time.
Uranos.
Uranus.
Yeah. Actually, it's Saturn.
It's not.
It's Saturn.
It's actually not.
No, I know. Oh, I'm well aware.
Okay, sorry. Please go on.
And then after, like, Teshub is Zeus. I assume that's how you pronounce these, right?
Let's say yes.
And it's wild because it really is like same shit, right? Kumarbi castrates Anu. Kumarbi swallows gods and a stone, maybe. And then Teshub overthrows Kumarbi. Like it really is just the exact same kind of story.
That is so interesting.
It's really funny. And like in other Hittite texts, it refers to the Titans as other gods, former gods, old gods, under gods, shit like that.
Yeah.
And that's how Homer and Hesiod referred to them as well.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting.
After the Titan War, and then they fell, all the Titans who were punished, like they were all sent like to the underworld.
They're all sent to Tartarus, specifically.
All sent to Tartarus, yeah, thank you. Except for Atlas, who was forced to hold up the sky.
Atlas was forced to hold up the sky. Helios stuck around to do the sun stuff until Apollo showed up. And Oceanus stuck around because he's the earth-wrapping river, so you can't really get rid of the earth-wrapping river.
Yeah, but those were like I think Helios and Oceanus didn't fight in the
They didn't participate at all. And none of the female Titans were punished either. None of them.
No, they didn't seem to fight in it either, which I guess gives credence for interpretations of the goddesses not fighting. But I feel like most of the time you have the goddesses fighting in the war. Like they all joined together to fight. I would have I guess I'll save the Lord Olympus stuff for later. I almost went off on the thing.
We'll get into
that later. But yeah, no, that is so interesting. I love when you find out, or just not when you find out, but like being reminded that these ancient stories were retellings of other stories.
It's a lot of fun.
And then it just really makes you think, okay, so all stories are retellings of stories that people heard once a long time ago that are also retellings of stories that they heard a long time ago. Where does the cycle start? What was the first story? Who was the first person who was like, the river drowned our people because of a god?
Yep, have to explain something unexplainable. Explain something unexplainable and then give yourself a way to feel like you can control it. Appease the god.
I'm going to get into some of the wilder stuff I found out when doing this research.
Yeah? Tell us more.
Dude, Kronos became king of the Isle of the Blessed?
Where?
I think it's in the Hesiod. Maybe it's either. Hold on.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
2 papyrus versions of the passage of Hesiod's Works and Days mention Kronos being released by Zeus and ruling over heroes who go to the Isle of the Blessed. But other editions make no mention of this, so most think that those lines were perhaps like added later.
Yeah, cringe if it's in the Hesiod. Dude, this shit is, it's absolutely fucking buck wild. Because then it's like, there was a description of the Isle of the Blessed.
Yes, okay, I got that. Do you want me to read it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the line. And they lived untouched by sorrows in the islands of the blessed, along the shores of the deep swirling ocean. Happy heroes from whom the grain-giving earth bears honey-sweet fruit, flourishing thrice a year, far from the deathless god. And Kronos rules over them, for the father of men and gods released him from his bonds. I mean, like, I
Why
don't
not?
hate that. Yeah.
Let's play with that idea, Rick.
Yeah, Rick.
Let's play with Luke showing up to the Isle of the Blessed, and it's fucking Kronos ruling this shit.
Oh,
I want to see that short story, Rick. Get on it.
get on it. Really take a swing. No,
when
I guess
will Rick write AUs of it? Listen, Marvel What If, but instead it's Rick being like, what if scenarios for his books.
What if it was Percy instead of Luke?
Ooh. No, okay, but still, okay, listen. Something I mentioned in our over on our bonus episodes a while back when we talked about the Sun and the Star for our Remyth episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned how there are some comments in the book that are very clearly retcons. Like they actively contradict things that were stated earlier.
Yep.
But rather than those being mistakes, it can be interpreted as this series has been out for going on 20 years. We have been having this.
Don't remind me of this, please. Please.
I'm so sorry. But that's a length of time in which like retcon is not a bad word. It's pretty common in like long running media. Like, and maybe it's just because I'm a comic book fan, so I'm used to a retcon. So that's kind of what it feels like. So comparing it to comic books, the next logical step, Rick, if you're going to be doing retcons, Mr. Riordan, let's get some AUs up in here. Let's go.
Let's run it. Come on.
Come on.
It'll
Yeah.
be a lot of fun.
You can even call it Damn Adventures, but, with not an N.
Exactly. Come on. Get on it, Rick. I want to see Kronos being king of the
Yeah,
Isle of the
what if
Blessed. That shit
it,
is
yeah. That's
so nuts.
funny.
Found out that Bob is Atlas's dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
Didn't know
that is
that.
mentioned in that like Nico book that we totally read and did an episode about, DJ. You remember?
So I don't know if this is in Rick's books or not, but apparently because the female Titans remained neutral during the war, they were not sent to Tartarus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you mention that? Yeah.
And some of them. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. DJ said they didn't
you're
fight in
fine.
the war. He didn't say they didn't go to Tartarus. So that's an
I
important
said that
connection.
they weren't the
Yeah, they didn't fight.
the female Titans. I said
Yeah.
that they weren't punished.
I thought you just said that.
It's in my notes. It says female Titans are not punished.
They are
Cool.
not
Okay.
punished.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they don't go to Star. What you're saying? So they don't. So the Titanesses don't end up in Tartarus because they didn't fight in the war.
Yeah, because they were neutral. Which
Yep.
I don't know. If
I don't
Rick-
blame him.
I don't know. Have we seen any female Titans?
Yeah, we've seen Rhea.
Rhea?
Did we see Rhea?
Yeah, in
Yes.
Trials. We saw her in the
She's a
first and
hippie.
last one. She's a hippie, calls Rick's idea of the Western civilization stupid.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Just acknowledging
It's like,
that's
this is
some
weird.
outdated. It's a really Eurocentric concept. And he's like, yeah, I know, guys, I know. It was 2005.
do we see like flashbacks of Leto?
No, we've never
Okay.
seen Leto. Hecate is technically a Titan.
That she is. We've seen Hecate. I mean,
I know Leto is like the name of a god, and I should in no way, shape, or form attribute any recognition to this man. But every time I see that word, I think of Jared Leto.
Yeah,
for me at present, it's there's a character, I say loosely because it's you only read about him in like his notes, called Professor Leto in Remnant from the Ashes, and he makes the set of armor with the highest armor stat, and it's so goofy. Who do stupid amounts of damage because that's what I spec'd into, and my buddy who spec'd into the armor I don't do nothing to that guy.
Whoa.
I get 2-shot. It takes like 15 for him.
Oh, damn.
It's a lot of fun. I love that game. I'm very excited for 2.
Nice.
The gods view humans as, oh God, how do I phrase this? So because humans sprouted from Kronos' corpse, which was a thing I found out, it's very strange.
The word sprouted just sounds
Sprouted,
so
no
well.
good.
But it's true.
Sprung.
The gods view humans as they have an original sin of being Kronos.
I saw that. Where do humans come from in Greek mythology? Like, is that the only myth?
That's where I've heard Zeus made him out of clay, or maybe that's just Christian
Prometheus
mythology.
made him out of clay. That's also
Prometheus. That's what it was. Prometheus made them out of clay, and then also
and Athena breathed life into them.
Yeah, and then this one where they sprouted from Kronos.
Wow, it's almost like ancient Greece had a bunch of fucking stories to pass the time, and then there's no consistency.
Ancient Greece was actually like 6 or 7 different countries.
Yeah,
and cultures.
Right? Yeah, I would say ancient Greece as if it was like one consistent place, and it was like
no, there was Athens, and there was Sparta, and there was Macedonia.
I don't know if you remember that old meme. That's like. It's not even an old meme at this point, but DJ, I don't know if you know this meme. It's you'll have like, let's say like a My Little Pony fan or something talking about My Little Pony, and then it's some guy who like bass boosts is like, "Who are you? I am from ancient Greece."
I think I've seen it like maybe once.
Oh, so there's another similar myth about the Titans and like this concept of like original sin, which the concept of original sin specifically is a Christian, like the Judeo-Christian Old Testament concepts like that. So I don't know if but I think so. Describing it as like an original sin feels like I would be interested to dive into exactly what being born of Kronos seemed to represent. Whether it, I mean, you did the research, DJ. It was probably the thing you read described it as like identifying it as like similar to an original sin. But that almost feels like layering like a Christian interpretation.
It was probably just layering it with Christian interpretation because I read original sin. I'm like, that's a wild thing to say because I would imagine most cultures don't have like sin.
Yeah, not like
for most mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have wrongdoings, but the term sin is
it means something seen it in, like, different. Yeah. But I think that is interesting because one thing because I Hades fan Zagreus. There's like the Titans play a role in like the Orphic myths. Where instead of being like they weren't banished to Tartarus, and then when Zeus had a child with Persephone, and that was Zagreus, and then Zeus put the child up on like a mountaintop to be protected like he was, Hera finds out, is angry, and summons the Titans to rip the baby apart. And all that's left is the heart that Zeus later uses to give birth to Dionysus with Semele. But there are some versions where the how do I word it? The essentially humans spring from the destroyed body of baby Zagreus.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's basically And sorry, not from baby Zagreus. I'm retracking it. When Zeus struck the Titans with his thunderbolts, the remains of the destroyed Titans came from the remains of the destroyed Titans came from humanity. And so some accounts say it formed the basis for an Orphic doctrine of the divinity of man. Whether or not that's actually part of Orphic tradition is like super up for debate, but that's like wild.
Yeah, sometimes this shit gets a little crazy.
But yeah, it's but it's this is interesting because like Hera in the Iliad like curses Zeus by calling on the Titans essentially to protect her in her like anger against Zeus. So Homer tells us that the gods, they're called the Titans, reside in Tartarus. I can't find the quote for Hera, but like it's so interesting that the idea that like Hera would call on the Titans for something paints a very different like picture of what the Titans were. And not just faceless evil mass, but like just kind of not gods in the past under the earth, but still residing, not necessarily like the enemies of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
But Kronos and Kronos CH with the time thing.
Yep.
This is something I'd read about before, but it is like his name. Like the fact that Kronos has control over like time, despite the fact that Kronos as this figure is like often seen as like this was a different figure entirely. It seems like even like the Greeks, like Cicero from the 1st century Roman philosopher was like saying that, well, you know, the Greek name, it's synonymous with time because he maintains the course and cycles of the seasons. And the Greek historian Plutarch from the 1st century also said that like this was allegorical for the word time, and even Plato got in on the act, saying that it was possible that the like name was interpreted as so. I just a lot of folks were like, maybe they're rivers, maybe the name means this, like maybe it's like, you know, Rhea is from like the river stream flux, and like Kronos is the stream of time. So I just really love the idea that like even literally back in antiquity, people were like, what's the deal? What does this name mean? What are we doing here?
Why is it spelled in 6 different ways?
What's up with that?
What's the deal with airline food?
The theory is that it's not a confusion. Like people aren't confusing Kronos CR with Kronos CHR. They're literally like intentionally identifying these figures together because Kronos like the cycle of the story of the Titans is you had Uranus and Gaia, and then the Titans like rose up and overthrew them, and then Kronos and Rhea repeated that cycle, and then the gods rose up and overthrew them. And that like associates Kronos himself being at the center of that cycle as like this god of like time, like consuming the past and suppressing the next generation and just that kind of thing. And so then we have the images of Father Time with the scythe because Kronos had the scythe, and Renaissance paintings really like the idea of like the harvesting scythe being used to like, you know, cut down things at the end of time. So I just thought that was cool that it's not necessarily like people making the mistake of, oh, these are two figures are totally different, but it literally is like, maybe it was the same, or maybe there was like an allegory for Kronos was an allegory for the time. Did you got any other wild stuff to share with the group?
I think that's it for mythology stuff.
We did it, boys.
If you guys got something you want to add to it, feel free. But that was everything that in my research, that was everything that like stood out to me as like, wow, this shit's kind of fun and funky.
So did we go over the original Toll Titans and what they were the Titans of?
You know, we didn't say that. Dear Robert, will you bring that to the table? We didn't mention that.
So you got Kronos, who is the leader of the Titans and the god of time.
Mm-hmm.
You have Rhea, who is Kronos' wife, the queen of Titans. She was the Titan of motherhood and fertility.
Mm-hmm.
You have Oceanus, who was the Titan of the sea and was the eldest of the Titans,
Interesting.
Yeah. You have Tethys, who was a sea goddess who was married to Oceanus. Hyperion, the Titan of light and the father of the sun god Helios. Thea, goddess of brightness and shining. She was married to Hyperion.
Makes sense.
Coeus, the Titan of intelligence and the stars, which, I mean, okay, sure, intelligence and the stars? Pick a fucking lane.
Pick a fucking
what are you
lane.
talking about? Fucking Athena is wisdom and like architecture and fucking battle strategy.
No, that's an umbrella. All of that falls under wisdom very nicely.
Apollo is medicine and music and the sun.
Apollo is chaotic disaster by energy. So
we haven't seen anything. Like, it's fine. Every time I see constellations in games, it's in fact almost revolving around intelligence stat.
yeah, fair. All right.
And Phoebe, good old Phoebe, the goddess of brightness and intelligence.
Yeah, they doubled up. Let's get it.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue.
Those are some smart babies.
Mnemosyne?
Yeah. Mnemosyne.
She represented.
Mnemosyne sounds good.
She represented memory, which is
That's what I thought. Looking at that word, that's a memory mind
That's a
word.
memory ass word.
That's a memory ass word.
That's fucking wild. We have Themis, who ruled over law and order.
Okay.
Dun dun.
Dun dun.
She was the mother to the Fates and the Hours.
Who are
But
the
there's only
hours?
3 hours.
Who the fuck are the Hours?
Wait, what?
Well, actually, DJ, no, there are 24 hours in a day.
Well, there were 3 hours that were born. And they
That sounds made up and
goddesses of
fake.
season and natural portions of time.
By the way, guess who was the father?
Zeus. Zeus was
Yes,
the father.
That he was. They essentially just represent the natural flow of time.
That makes sense.
Oh, so if there's 3 of them, like what? Past, present, future?
Well, it's like goddesses of order in general and natural justice, and they were like representations of seasons, and then they changed.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Cirrus, who was the Titan of heavenly constellations. So, what the fuck is Coeus?
Yeah, what's the?
Well,
why?
he's the
What's he doing?
stars. He's the
Right.
stars.
He's the
a
stars,
star.
but Crius or Creus is the Titan of heavenly constellations.
Yeah,
They're
And
doing
then we
more
have
work.
Lapetus,
more
the god
work.
of
They're
mortality.
connecting the dots. There are so many more stars in the sky than there are constellations.
But look,
Fuck, I hate that. I hate that. Holy fuck.
I'm also upset. I have also been made upset by that statement. A simple fact to be true.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
that was...
okay, it reminds me of this kid at the summer camp who said, so there's a kid at the summer camp and they were talking about, they've got like demons in the story. And I was asking him about like, well, where do they come from? Are they like mortal? Like, are they alive? And he says to me, well, the demons are alive in the sense that they can be killed. And that just shook me.
So they are like, in
This
fact, the Greek
fourth
gods.
grader.
They're alive in the sense that they can be killed.
This,
Here, hold on a second.
this fourth grader said this to me.
That's great. That's great. I love it.
Pop culture. Let's get into that then.
All right.
Unless any more facts about Titans we missed.
No, DJ shook me with the stars thing. I think we need to move on. Can I talk
I'm
about my
really
Lore
trying to-
Olympus thing?
Go ahead, but I'm really trying to remember what that like other fact that was very similar to what I just said, just different and more unsettling. But I cannot even think of it.
It's going to come to you, and you're going to text me about it in 3 days at 2 a.m.
Yeah, probably.
And that's probably going to fuck up.
And I'm going
a
to
lot
wake
of
up at
people.
8 and be like, why did you do this? No, so I love mentioning the fact that the Titanesses did not fight in the war against the gods and were not punished implies that they didn't. You could be like, women don't fight in wars, whatever. But like, I think it's been more like they didn't side with the Titans. I mean, Rhea didn't, right? And then her sisters probably would side with her. So I like that. And then we see that very well. And of course, Lore Olympus, where especially in the more recent chapters, no spoilers. These are all, I think these are past fast pass. Oh, these are definitely past fast pass by the time this episode comes out. Like the recent episode as of now, when Demeter's reflecting on her history with her mother, and her mother literally is like, do you see that man? And they're looking at Kronos, and she says to Demeter, I created you to help destroy him.
Yeah.
And so setting up like the Titanesses are like not like real. I just think Rachel Smith does like a really good job, and I really wish I was going to New York Comic Con to meet her this October, but I'm not, and that's a bummer. But yeah, she just does a great job like incorporating those pieces of mythology and weaving them into that narrative so well. And Kronos in Lore Olympus is so much scarier than he is in Percy Jackson. Like,
he's
honestly,
terrifying. Holy
she
fuck.
just does not hold back on the horror.
Also, the Demeter stuff is in fact still behind the fast pass.
Okay, but it won't be by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah. By the time this episode comes out. I forgot about that simple fact.
Simple fact. The real quick, we said farewell to Robert because they had a family emergency and had to duck out. But you'll hear from them at the end of the episode one more time. So we'll just continue on our pop culture on our own. DJ, you have a list?
I do have a list. It's not like a complete list of every time Titans show up in pop culture or the word Titan, right?
Because a lot. They show up a lot. And we don't, that's boring.
Titan shows up a lot. And I just kind of really stuck to, for the most part, more
DJ?
interesting ones that like if they talk about Titan, I think I know which one you're looking at, Darian.
Oh, do you? Do you know which one?
Give it a second. You know what? We'll start with that one because it really is just like I thought it was goofy, funny. The Nissan pickup truck Titan because it's named after Titan. I think like Ford had one too, which was but I'm like the Nissan. I've driven one of them. They're fine.
Wonderful. And in your experience, you felt like it deserved the name Titan?
It was one of those small Twinkie pickup trucks, so no. Like it's not as big as like it wasn't even as big as like a Ford F-150. It was as big as like an old Tacoma.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for jumping ahead on your list. I wasn't going to be able to focus until, yeah.
That's the only one on this that's really out of like left field.
I mean, you have the NFL Tennessee Titans at the very bottom.
That one I do. I feel like the car is more out of left field.
The car is more out of left field.
Because everybody kind of like is aware of the Tennessee Titans. I don't think people know that Nissan had a pickup truck named Titan.
I almost wish I didn't look at the list and you could have just blindsided me and the audience. But I thank you for letting us start with that. I wasn't going to be able to focus. Top of the list, obviously Disney's Hercules.
Disney's Hercules had the Titans, but they weren't the Titans.
No, maybe hot take. I like the Titans and Disney's
no, they're
Hercules.
great.
Their design is great. They're very
wasn't me
cool.
being
No. I know you were. This is hot take against people in the audience who are going to be like terrible, bad interpretation. It's like
they're just fun elemental giants. What's not to like about that though?
Yeah, leaning into them as like primordials, like separate and before the gods. I think visually, and they're cool. The only one that's like not great is the Cyclops one.
Cyclops.
Everyone else gets to be this cool elemental. I guess I don't know. He like plays hacky sack with Hercules, so I guess he needed legs.
I loved it.
Can I talk briefly about Kingdom Hearts?
Go ahead.
Man, you gotta fight the Titans in Kingdom Hearts, and when the Ice Titan shows up at the Coliseum and like just like its big spindly ice hands just crush over it and it like peers up, like that's scary as hell. It's really cool because you don't know who you're gonna fight when you run in for the first time, and that's really cool. And that fight is fun. And then the Rock Titan in the third Kingdom Hearts game. I consider myself a Titan slaying expert, you understand. I've defeated them many times. It's the Rock Titan, the Ice Titan.
Some of my favorite fights in games are just the big monstrous dudes that don't like have any hit stun until you drop their health a certain amount. I think it's just super fun.
Yeah, it is.
Because they can be like mechanically interesting too. Visually stunning and mechanically interesting.
Just double checking. What are the Titan fights in? I think it's just Ice Titan and Rock Titan. Oh, wait. In Kingdom Hearts Remind? You fight all three of them at one point in time.
That sounds fucking awesome. What? Is Remind a good Kingdom Hearts game?
What is this? Hold on, no.
Isn't that the DLC?
Yes? When do you get to fight the Fire Titan? I've never done this. But also Sora's wearing his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfits in these screenshots I'm looking at.
Well, it says Kingdom Hearts 3, 3 Titans. Look at this fucking fight. Dude, this looks sick. The fight looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The fight looks rad as hell. Figure out how to get that.
Okay. It's Young's brothers, Tornado Titan, Lava Titan, and Ice Titan released by Hades. It's for the Titans. Okay, my defense, it's been a long time. Like, I've played every other Kingdom Hearts game multiple times, but I did only play this one once.
And you probably didn't go back to see what else Remind added aside from the ending, right?
Yeah, I just played through the ending, and then I looked briefly at the data fights. And then I probably said fuck that because I don't need that in my life. That's not the joy. That's not where I get joy. And I was also kind of mad that almost basically everything in that Remind DLC was all stuff that should have just been in the game proper that they clearly scooped out to put in a DLC. So
no, yeah, when companies do that, it fucking sucks. And a lot of the times, I would actually argue they probably didn't scoop it out to begin with. They probably had higher ups say, "Hey, you need to release the game now." And so before they could even get all that really finalized, they ended up just releasing it and you're only Sora.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is the easiest way to get this part done. And so that's what they did. And then, because that's how...
that makes me feel a little better.
There's a lot of DLC. What is
like,
it?
I'm still mad.
Cyberpunk 2077 did that, kind of. Hey, Robert's back.
Hey, Robert's back!
This is going to be a weird hodgepodge of an episode for you to edit.
It's fine. I'm not worried. Welcome back.
Yeah, it'll be fine. What's up, Robert?
We were talking about
had a family emergency.
My mom is safe and sound back at home, so family emergency averted.
Good, good. Well, we were
Nice.
currently talking about the Titan battle in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mm-hmm.
You play the Kingdom Hearts game, Roberts?
I played the first one.
Did you ever do the Titan fight in the Hades Cups? Or the Olympus Cups? Coliseum?
Called doing so, yes.
You don't have enough memory for this to be an interesting conversation. I'm going to drop this line of questioning. All right, DJ, let's move on. Yeah, so far, honestly, outside of... Okay, Lore Olympus is my favorite version of the Titans, but Hercules / Kingdom Hearts, close second.
Very strong, very strong. I got on here, Class of the Titans. We see Kronos.
Hey! Is it just Kronos? Do we get other... I guess I don't know.
There's probably others, but we didn't watch the series. We
didn't watch enough.
Yeah, he shows up. He's doing his thing, trying to overthrow the gods again. You know, but the
classic Titan plot.
Yeah, classic Titan plot and good early aughts like tween show.
Yo, let's give a one where the Titans are trying to overthrow the gods, and they're like, "Let's go get Kronos to help us with this," and they discover he's just ruling the Isle of the Blessed. He's like, "No, I've got a pretty sweet gig here."
This is a cush gig, bro. Like, I don't know what you're fucking on about. Like, why would I overthrow the gods? They gave me this location.
Hey, did y'all talk about God of War?
No,
Not yet.
I don't even think it's on my list actually because I hadn't played it. And I'm tired of saying, yeah, they're in God of War. I haven't played it.
Robert, do you want to talk about God of War?
You fight, let's see, it's Kronos, and you fight Kronos. I know you fight Atlas. I know you fight Gaia.
Whoa. Are those fun fights?
Yeah.
Nice.
They're hard fights. I remember the Kronos fight's a hard one.
Yeah, I need to just sit down and play those. I can
probably
emulate them or whatever. I got Borderlands on there. So in Borderlands, there's a lot of references towards Titans, right?
Really?
There's a company. There are two of the gun manufacturers, Atlas and Hyperion, and then Hyperion built a space station with a big fuck off laser, and it's the Helios station.
Okay, I like that. I like space stations with a big fuck off laser named Helios. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Like if you're not gonna have Titan as character, you're just gonna use their names. I like it when it at least is thematically accent. Like they could have called that the Prometheus beam, and I'd be like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
The Kronos measure. What? Helios. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's just the name of the station, Helios, because it was made by Hyperion, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought that was fun. In Final Fantasy, there are just Titans. They're Earth kind of gods for the different races, right? At the very least, in 14, every different kind of race has a Titan that they worship, and the Titan, it's certain sects, because the Titan's not benevolent. It's a little more malevolent, right? Or maleficent. Fuck, what's the word?
Malicious.
Malicious. That's
but
it.
benevolence, correct? I think. Yeah, malevolent. Yeah. Robert, wait, you're back. You missed the thing I learned about. Hold on.
What's the thing you learned about? Oh,
on DJ's
remember?
list. No, we had to talk about it first. DJ, tell Robert.
The car company Nissan has a pickup truck that is named after Titan. It's just the Nissan Titan.
And it's this dinkiest little truck.
It's just
Did
a
you
small
describe it as a
little
Twinkie truck?
Yeah, because that's how I first heard small trucks be called by my buddy Aldo.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, I like Twinkie trucks. I'm like, I get it. I get it. I got Attack on Titan on here.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Because they're Titans. They're not good, but I would argue they're not evil. They're not inherently evil. They actually don't know what they're doing. Spoilers for Attack on Titan. They are in fact just transformed people of this certain race that can do this because they are descendants of the original Titans.
Oh,
and
okay.
There are 8 specific Titans that people can turn into and be cognizant while they're doing it. And it only happens and it can get transferred when either a Titan that doesn't know what they're doing eats the person, or when that person dies, it's a baby from the same bloodline will spark up with this power.
Spark up.
Well, like
No, you're fine.
Spark up.
Yeah,
and they only live for 13 years. After they get the ability to do the Titan stuff, they have a 13-year cap on their life.
That's a bummer. I think you told me about this when we did the Lystragonian episode way back yonder.
Yeah. Attack on Titan, I need to finish it. It's super interesting. Like, unironically, I think it's like some of the just coolest lore. Found out. So this is another game that I started but stopped because it had a mechanic that I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
I'm not big into real-time strategy. Not the biggest fan of that. And that's you highlight troops and you command them to go places. That's that kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal Legend, the game Jack Black starred in about heavy metal. Mm-hmm. The gods of this world he gets isekai'd into he dies at the start and gets isekai'd into this place. It's really funny.
I had no idea that was the premise of that game. Okay.
He gets isekai'd to this place, and like the old gods are called the Titans, and they invented music for the humans to have.
That's really fucking cool. That's like the coolest thing any Titan's ever done. Yeah, Prometheus, I'm including you with the fire thing.
It's super funny.
And then, did you, at the bottom of the list, you have one that I am like screaming that I didn't think of.
You were very
all
texted in all caps after you saw it.
I did.
Do you want to talk about it? Because you'll definitely be able to talk about it more than I can.
Probably. But first, like, Robert, did you have any Titans or Kronos examples in other pop culture things that we needed to bring to the table? Because I think this one's going to set me off, and we're going to finish the episode shortly after.
Did you mention Owl House?
That's actually what that is. It's the Owl House.
And then I guess I'll do the last one from me before we get into the Owl House, and Stern will have a good time going off.
I will.
King Kong, Godzilla, and Kaiju in their universe, I guess, are often referred to as Titans, which makes sense. They're big fuck-off monsters destroying everything while they fight. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think if like some big fuck off monsters showed up in our world, we just all call them the Titans for shorthand. And I think like most people be fine. You probably have some of those people who'd be like, technically they're not really the Titans there. But those are the same people who's like, the Frankenstein is the doctor, not the monster. To them I say, Victor dropped out of medical school. He's not even a doctor.
And I always say, technically it's for hay, not
You
horses.
don't need to go to medical school to be a doctor. Our father's a doctor, and I can't even remember what. But
Doctor Who?
Yeah, no. He hasn't finished his thesis yet. You don't get your doctorate until you finish and defend the thesis.
I thought he had a PhD.
No, you get the PhD when you finish defending your thesis. You have to finish that first. That's how it gets it for you. But not, okay, but we all know we don't mean that kind of doctor.
Yeah.
Did you, I think Kronos is in Smite, correct?
He is. I'm pretty sure I've already talked about him at some point.
I think you just told me about it personally one time, but I don't think we've ever been on mic.
Yeah, so he's Kronos, god of time. He has a nice big large wave ability that hits people and stuns them. Mm-hmm. He has a fucking burst that just and his effects are super cool, all like clock and gear work. It's super fun.
I love that.
An ability that makes him speed up and do more attack speed, as well as like he's got this fun wheel of time that when you activate the ability that gives you movement and attack speed, depending on where it's at, it'll give you a different effect. And then his ult is he goes back 10 seconds in time to the position, health, and mana he was at 10 seconds ago.
Wow, that's really cool.
Annoying.
That's really cool. Like as a game mechanic, I'm really into that.
Yeah.
This isn't good for Robert, who was like, maybe I'll get back into Smite. And I was like, no, don't do it, for us to talk about cool things about the game.
He also has a really fun skin that's themed around, it's called Super Kronos 64, and it's just a Nintendo 64 model. He's just low poly, low texture. It's a lot of fun.
Looking it up now, and yep, I'm really into that. That's super funny. Oh my gosh, I found someone cosplaying it.
It's one of my favorite skins in the game.
Nice.
That's cool.
And his voice is all like, it sounds like it's from fucking GoldenEye.
Nice. Okay, so now I got to talk about the Owl House. Yes, the Owl House, my favorite thing. major spoilers coming up. Obviously, spoilers for everything, but this is like big twist spoilers for the thing. Robert, you can chime in whenever. So you get into this magical world of the Boiling Isles, where the hero, our main protagonist hero, Luce, who is a human, is going to learn magic. And it is literally this island is on the bones of this massive, massive, massive beast, like a continent-sized being. And from this Titan, that's what they call it, like that's where the magic has come from. That is how witches and demons are able to do magic. And it's also where we learn how Luce the human is able to do magic. Like she discovers like these runes that the sigils that she like finds in nature within light and ice and fire itself, and is able to learn how to use them and combine them. And we learn that this is the language of the Titan itself.
Ooh, nice.
That was like given to Luce to like really shown her how it's done, because it was like, even though she feels like it was so difficult, it was actually really easy for her to discover these things, because there's another character who mentioned later how difficult it was for him to learn them, almost as if the Titan himself was trying to keep me from them. And we discover that King, the cute little horned despot character, is the son of the Titan of the Boiling Isles.
Yep.
And he is the last living Titan, because all the others were wiped out and all the other children Titan were taken away, and it is just him. And it's so interesting. And these Titans and it is another use of Titan used as just giant, like Godzilla, like we were just talking about. It's just the word Titan being used to describe something that is just massive. But when we actually get to know what the Titan is, that it is not just but this big creature, but the fact that it is essentially almost like very much a deity, like it is revered, like the Titan is revered by the people of the Boiling Isles as a deity. That is how the evil Emperor Bellos was able to take control, because he claimed he could speak to the Titan, and that they were misusing the gift of the Titan, like, and kind of create this like religious fear and zealotry around the idea of the Titan. And I think that was really cool. And at the end, okay, I won't talk about the very ending, but it's so good. And I think they use the idea of the Titan and the idea of this like divine, like this, it's very much like, I would call like this character a god, essentially, this divine creature. When we see the ending of it, it works so well. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't think, because I was thinking like Titan a la Kronos, Rhea, and Bob, and which I really like us all just have we decided just collectively that we don't care what this character's real name is in mythology. We will just be referring to him as Bob from here on out. Who cares? Yeah. I mean, in our context, I'm sure if I was going to write a paper, I'd call him Epidus, but I'd have to. But he's Bob in casual conversation.
Gotta use his government name.
His government name.
Not his government name. It was given to him by a fucking 13-year-old.
No, Epidus is the government name.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Percy was 15 at the time.
Yeah, I know. It's called hyperbole, Darian.
Oh, you're right.
Hyperbole.
No, it's Hyperion, DJ. But no, Titan, I think it's not just using the name Titan as a big thing, but the lore on the Titan, I think, suits the choice of using that term to describe this being very well. And if you haven't watched The Owl House, you should. It's all on Disney Plus, and yes, it's very, very sad that it got cut short, but it was still amazing and still worthwhile. So watch it now.
But animation just expected to be cut short.
I screamed.
Shout out to
void.
the like 3 months I yelled at Darian to catch up.
I was rewatching it with my girlfriend, and we were going to watch the finale together, and we did, and it was wonderful.
You know what?
And she thanked me for waiting for her to watch it together, and I thanked her for watching it with me, because I couldn't get anyone else to watch this show with me in person.
Well, I can't fault you.
Well, yeah, and now you and your boyfriend are going to watch it, so I don't want to hear it. You would have done the same thing.
Nah, you know what? I should have been mean.
No, you wouldn't be mean. You're nice. So nice, in fact, that we're going to let you plug where our listeners can find you, Robert.
First, I want to thank you guys for having me again.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, it was a blast.
If y'all want to find me elsewhere in the internet, I do a lot of things. The Damn Meme Page, damn spelled DAM on Instagram. I have 4 podcast, like 3 and 1 in like the Shadow Realm right now. That's a Sitch with Darian. We talk about Kim Possible. Truham Grammar Book Club, where I talk about Heartstopper.
So good. It's so good.
Very great. The Bits, where I talk about Steven Universe. And who knows, maybe by the time this episode comes out, Once Upon a Time podcast we do might actually come back.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll figure it out.
It'll
We'll figure
come
it
back.
out.
It'll come back. All right.
Robert, thank you so much for joining us.
Could have done without DJ's constellation stars fact. That was
Here
the
we
thing
are.
that fucked me up, but
Yeah, this is the world we live in now. Post DJ pointing out about the constellation and the stars.
Yeah, love it.
no, the one that I always think of when I think about fucked up facts, it's like the cells in your body stop regenerating at a faster rate than they like die at like 25. So you start dying at 25.
Yeah.
Okay, so to compensate for all the distress we have caused in this episode, I'm going to let everyone know that the Yellowstone supervolcano is actually not a thing
It's
you have
real.
to
You need to worry about it.
No,
It's
you
coming in
don't.
the next year.
No, it's actually not real. It's actually not overdue to explode. That's not a real thing geologically. If it did explode, it
How do
likely
you fuck up that bad?
it's not going to. Well, I think what it is when it was in its prime activity billions of years ago, it exploded between every 70,000 and 80,000 years. And so that was its regular explosion. And then it hasn't done that. So some folks looked at that data and said, it's overdue for an explosion. Completely misconstruing.
No, it's like, it's just dormant, dude. Shut up.
Like completely misconstruing what volcanoes actually do. It's not necessarily dormant. It is an active volcano, but not in the sense that it's going to explode a la 1,000 times worse than Mount St. Helens. If it were to erupt, it would not be this like cataclysmic, the big one. Like, honestly, there are no volcanoes that would do that. That's not real. And I thank the geologist on Instagram for posting a reel about that and then providing a bunch of links to the U.S. Geological Society's research on this topic. So, dear listeners, if you are like me and ever since you heard about the Yellowstone supervolcano have just had a lingering anxiety about this, allow me to help you rest it and apologize for DJ Star Thing and Robert's. Yeah. And we just welcome in knowing that you don't have to worry about that. But you can be like DJ and meme about it if you wish. Secure in the knowledge that you don't have to fear the big one.
Sorry. I just decided to look up facts that fucked me up.
No.
I also looked that up.
No. This one is just funny. If bees were paid a minimum wage for their labor, a jar of honey would cost $182,000. That was just funny. Like, none of these are like making me like, holy shit, as much as like the stars and constellations, but
I don't have another Yellowstone fact to offset anything else you might say, so we got to get out of here very quickly. Let me get into...
Okay, but it's not a fact, but it's a thought process. If bears, big animal, that'll hurt me, why so cuddly?
No hugging bears!
but look at their fucking ears, Darian.
Those are predator ears. They're so small so other things can't get at them. Those are predator ears. Enough of this.
The difference between 1 million seconds and 1 trillion seconds is almost 40,000 years.
Yeah, I hate that. Because 1 million years is 11 days, 1 billion years is 31 years, and 1 trillion years is like 400 something years. Just to put that in perspective, a million seconds ago was June 3rd.
Yeah.
When we're recording this.
So as of time was 11 days ago.
Yeah, as of the time we're recording this, a million seconds ago was June 3rd. A billion seconds ago was 1992.
Yeah. It's important to understand the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
And then a trillion years. There's a wonderful Tom Scott video about that where he drives the equivalent of $1 million if you stacked 1 million $1 bills on the floor and you drove that distance versus if you stacked 1 billion $1 on the floor and drove that distance. And that really helped me put into perspective.
Were the bills like...
It's metaphorical.
No. Yes, I know it's metaphorical. I meant the length of the bill. If you held out a bill, was it like a long rectangle or a tall rectangle? Like, did he stack the bills sideways and so they're long rectangle ways, or did he stack them tall so was it a super narrow path?
It would be like $1, $2, $3 up to $1 billion, and it would be like,
Oh, so they weren't like flat. They were stacked on their side.
They were stacked on their sides. If you stacked $1 billion
okay, thank
on
you.
their sides, that's how far
Okay.
he drove. And to drive $1 million took him like less than a minute to walk. To do $1 billion took him like an hour driving.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So
Pablo Picasso, Anne Frank, and Martin Luther King Jr. all lived at the same time.
oh, what's that one that I really like? It's Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso lived into a few years of Sesame Street, so it's entirely possible he saw Sesame Street before he died.
What is it? This Last Samurai happened after Abraham Lincoln's death. So it's entirely possible that Abraham Lincoln had a samurai pen pal.
Cleopatra lived closer to the creation of the iPhone than she lived to the building of the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
I like the thing about the Bram Stoker Dracula book where Quincy is an oil dude from Texas, and they were still putting cocaine in Coca-Cola at that time. So it was entirely possible that rich man oil dude from Texas, Quincy, was having Coca-Cola bottles imported while he's like wooing Lucy in London and was just hopped up on Coke while trying to get revenge on a vampire. Quincy's my favorite character, and the fact that he is removed from most adaptations is criminal. Literally, Mina and Jonathan named their son after him. # justice for Quincy.
I forget if it was like the first photo someone took of Earth or like a photo someone took of Earth, but that was the first time that a photo of Earth had been taken, which means it was a photo of everyone alive or dead except for the person taking the photo.
Also, everyone on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Technically speaking.
All right, thank you all so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode that went chaotic, and not honestly for the reasons I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happens when Robert shows up.
Mm-hmm.
We will be back in your ears, yes, next week, because we are a weekly podcast now, listeners. So, yep, thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Do not be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darren and DJ Smart. It's edited by Darren Smart. The show is produced by Darren and DJ Smart, as well as
Tim O'Connor.
The Crystal Con Man.
Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain. And our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology. Or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.